Hey everybody, how you doing? I've got pole shift on my mind, and it's really a misnomer because it's the magnetic pole that is shifting, and that's not the same pole as the axis pole, okay? So, just to clarify that, the movement of the Earth throughout the day in its 24-hour rotation goes around an axis. So far, that appears to be steady, and that's what creates the actual North Pole. And the North Pole is at that certain kind of tilt, so that during the winter solstice it's pointing away from the sun and it doesn't get any sunlight, and therefore it has an icy covering because it's always staying in the cold. It's a regional climate that's in the cold most of the time, has a perpetual ice cover even when it warms up in the summer, especially around the summer solstice or thereafter in August and early September. And the opposite is true for the South Pole. But when we're talking about pole shift today, we mean the magnetic pole, which is somewhat connected with this pole, they think, and I think it is, but it all brings up the question of what is the actual inner structure of the Earth. We only really know a few miles down from our biosphere, and that's generally known as the Earth's crust, and we don't know what's underneath that. It's all theoretical, and I don't really buy into much of the going theory, what's presently accepted. So you have to go into the area of the mantle and the core, the so-called iron nickel molten inner sphere that's there. And it's probably that material, that section of the Earth, the inner section, the interior center of this sphere that we live on, the Earth. Because of the forces involved, because of the movement and the rotation around the rotational axis that is causing the magnetic pole. Now, the magnetic pole seems to be shifting. They are reporting this now, and obviously it's from measurements of some scientific agencies around the world, and especially the transportation agencies, because it's affecting the airports and navigation. If you don't know which way north is, it's very hard to navigate. So you have to make the appropriate adjustments. Now, getting back to the idea of the structure of the Earth creating this magnetic field. Some people say that it's very much connected with extraterrestrial bodies, other planets, seen or unseen, with regular or irregular proximity to the Earth. So, is this what's affecting the magnetic field, or is it our relationship to the moon, or our relationship to the sun, the Earth-Sun relationship? Is it because of the sun and the solar maxima, the solar flares, because those have a magnetic property? Well, the core of the Earth may not be what they say it is. It may actually be hollow, but not in the way that we think of hollow. It may be hollow because of the pressure that is involved the heat and the pressure and it'd be strange to think of gravity at the center of the Earth, you see. Imagine if you were at the center, and whatever material is there, whatever molecules, would actually be in a relatively weightless state. A lack of gravity has to occur. And if you go from the poles, and I know there's been a lot of science fiction ideas about this, if there is a passageway in at any one of the poles, and you are traveling through that vector, or that passage toward the center, that's probably the best route in to find a gravity-free environment in that zone. And who knows, really, what could be in there. I believe there's all kinds of civilization of other species that can't exist in our biosphere. And I'm going to leave off with the idea that there could be some intelligence involved with shifting the magnetic field. It could be under control of some entity or entities. And this is a great mystery, because in the Bible it talks about how the earth is positioned and how there are four great beasts. It's transliterated as beasts that sit worshiping the great one who sits on the throne. So they're all around the throne of the earth, and the Lord who presides over it. This is the unseen ancient God. Now, this is in the Bible. You can look it up if you want to. And I think this has a lot to do with the magnetic field. So, for those of you who are fearing some planet or Planet X, Nibiru, or a comet out there, that's probably just connected with what's going on inside of the Earth, and everything is being planned out. So don't worry about it. It's not out of control, but it is out of the control of any evil plans of Earthlings. That's what I believe. Thanks for listening. More about this pole shift later on, especially when your compasses have no use whatsoever.